Heya Cryptozens, tonight's show, Tornado Cash Sanctioned. It's 10 p.m. Pacific Time. The date is August 8th, 2022, and welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nikodemus, and I'll be your host. The cover model, mascot, and co-host for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. Tornado Cash is an on-chain privacy network and cryptocurrency mixer. It is also the second crypto mixer sanctioned by the Office of Foreign Assets Control, or OFAC. This information came out today in a press release that announced an update to OFAC's specially designated nationals list. That's a list of people whose assets are blocked. Generally speaking, Americans aren't allowed to be doing business with them. And generally speaking, they're unsavory characters at best. We're talking about terrorists and human traffickers. Like Al-Qaeda is on that list. How do you get on that list? It's not too hard, actually. Just work for the wrong people. That's right. To get on the list, just work on behalf of a targeted country. Like right now, Russia is sanctioned. No one is supposed to be doing any kind of business with Russia. And if you do, then you get caught. You get put on this list. Now, the official language says it's, quote, a list of individuals and companies owned or controlled by or acting for or on behalf of targeted countries. That said, there are people in groups like terrorists and narco traffickers that are designated under programs that aren't limited to a specific country, like narco traffickers. They're not limited to one country, so they're in their own section of the list, but it's still the same list. And getting on that list means anyone who deals with you also finds themselves on that list, kind of like cooties, which generally sucks, but the worst part is the frozen assets. The sanctions against the Russians are having an effect even though Russia had been preparing for these sanctions since 2014. Now, if the U.S. actually catches you, they get a hold of you, not only are your funds going to be frozen, you could face financial penalties from $50,000 to $10 million. You could be looking at 10 to 30 years of imprisonment. That's for willful noncompliance. And so it was that OFAC put out a press release today that announced the sanctioning of Tornado Cash. Brian E. Nelson is the Undersecretary of the Treasury for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence. In a statement, Nelson said, quote, today, Treasury is sanctioning Tornado Cash, a virtual currency mixer that launders the proceeds of cybercrimes, including those committed against victims in the United States. So that's the reason, doing business with people on the sanctioned list. Nelson went on to say that Tornado Cash, quote, failed to impose effective controls designed to stop it from laundering funds for malicious cyber actors on a regular basis and without basic measures to address its risks. And what it comes down to is the North Koreans, again. According to the press release, Tornado Cash laundered over $7 billion worth of crypto since 2019. $455 million of that was from the North Korean hacker group, the Lazarus Group. And see, this isn't the first time that North Korean hackers got a mixer sanctioned. We covered it here when it happened that Blender.io, they were the first crypto mixer ever sanctioned. They're also believed to have been used by the North Koreans. They're believed to have processed just over $20 million worth of crypto from the Ronin Bridge hack. Now, what was interesting about things when Blender.io was sanctioned was that Tornado Cash was not. Now, North Koreans, of course, believed to be behind the theft of $640 million from the Ronin Bridge hack and $100 million Harmony exploit. So now I have to wonder about this, because this last April, Tornado Cash announced that they were using Oracle contracts from Chainalysis specifically designed to block sanctioned crypto wallets. This came after the Ronin Bridge exploit. The Chainalysis sanctions Oracle can tell if a crypto wallet's address shows up in a sanctions designation from the US, the EU, or the UN. And what that really did was just blocked sanctioned wallets from the Tornado Cash UI. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $1.12 trillion. It's up 2.44% in 24. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin up 2.75%, Ethereum up 4.52%, Tether, USDC, and Binance Coin up 0.62%. Now, back in July, Tornado Cash fully open-sourced their UI. Now, this is a move that the devs characterized as a step towards complete decentralization and utter transparency. Now, this is important because this is how forks happen. That's right, because Tornado Cash opened up their source code, anybody can fork the repository and make their own flavor of Tornado Cash. At the time, the devs wrote, quote, "We personally grew fond of the black and green floating astronaut associated with the protocol. However, you should know our credo by now. We will always lean towards more decentralization. As far as we're concerned, our DAO took a step further with this great progress." Now, Tornado Cash first announced their DAO in mid-2020. At the time, Tornado Cash said, quote, "Maintaining financial privacy is essential to preserving our freedom. However, it should not come at the cost of non-compliance." Well, it seems that they might have been quite so sincere, at least from the standpoint of the Treasury Department. Because Brian Nelson wrote, quote, "Despite public assurances otherwise, Tornado Cash has repeatedly failed to impose effective controls designed to stop it from laundering funds for malicious cyber actors on a regular basis and without basic measures to address its risks. Treasury will continue to aggressively pursue actions against mixers that launder virtual currency for criminals and those who assist them." Now, according to DeFi Llama, Tornado Cash has over $300 million in total value locked. That's down quite a bit from the $850 million they had in November of last year. That was when the project announced the Layer 2 scaling network on Arbitrum. Since that time, they've been at the center of several exploits. The $375 million wormhole attack in February, the $100 million Horizon bridge hack. It seems that's why mixing has a limit of 100 ETH at a time. Then the Ronin bridge hack. 15% of Tornado Cash's deposits were from the Ronin exploiter's wallet. That said, it's important to remember not everyone who values privacy is a criminal. Normal, honest, law-abiding citizens want privacy too. That doesn't mean that they're acting with criminal intent. According to Tornado Cash, it was designed so that users had a choice of when and with whom they share their crypto ownership details. One of the community members elected by the DAO wrote a Medium post earlier this year. They said, quote, "Unfortunately, some news and stories come to tarnish the image of privacy tools such as Tornado Cash. Community members of Tornado Cash do not support such unlawful usage of the tool. It stands miles away from the values conveyed by the DAO. You cannot imagine how infuriating it is to notice that a few people can call into question both Tornado Cash's reputation and our own usage of the protocol." So I have practical questions. Like, surely people wouldn't get in trouble for withdrawing anything that they've got sitting in Tornado Cash, would they? I mean, technically, not withdrawing that cash means leaving that money available for them to do whatever they want with. That said, you can take the money away from them. You're working with them. So that's a bad thing, right? I mean, because it sounds like if you've got money in their liquidity pool and you withdraw it, you could find yourself sanctioned. Is that what they intended? The global NFT market cap is down 5.66%. Sales volume is also down 4.51% in 24 hours. According to CoinMarketCap, the top 5 NFT collections by sales volume are Crypto Dick Butts, followed by Other Deed, CryptoPunks, Mutant Apes, and Moonbirds. Now keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. At any rate, the message from Treasury is pretty clear. mixers cannot be repurposed for illegal operations. While legitimate reasons to use mixers exist, that's fine, but, quote, we cannot allow these mixing services to facilitate money laundering. And that's what was happening. According to Ari Redboard, Tornado Cash has been the go-to mixer for North Korean crypto hackers for a year or more. Now, Redboard is the head of legal and government affairs at the analytics firm TRM Labs. Now, technically, these sanctions only affect U.S. citizens. That said, the reach is global. Even if you're a bad guy, you don't necessarily want to be doing business with other bad guys, not if the government is watching you. Now, Redboard puts out that even if you're a criminal, knowing the government is watching Tornado Cash right now means that you're going to have to be even more careful. Now, I suspect most of the run-of-the-mill bad guys will just avoid Tornado Cash for now. That said, it's hard to say what the big boys are going to do. The Lazarus tier criminals will likely test the waters a bit to see what's happening, whether they face real issues or not. Now, one guy who's definitely facing some real issues here is Roman Semenov. Roman is one of the co-founders of Tornado Cash. Well, he reported that a different kind of account is giving him issues today. Apparently, his account at GitHub was suspended following the announcement from Treasury. Here's an example of the reach of U.S. sanctions. Because Tornado Cash has been identified as a specially designated national, any business transactions would be banned as well. It's very vague. According to a joint statement, including OFAC, prohibited interactions could be interpreted to be something as innocuous as, quote, downloading a software patch from a sanctioned entity, which seems excessive to me. Jake Chervinsky is the head of policy at the Blockchain Association. He said Treasury's decision might have crossed a line. Jerry Brito is the executive director of Coin Center. And he said, quote, it's not any specific bad actor who is being sanctioned, but instead it's all Americans who may wish to use this automated tool in order to protect their own privacy while transacting online, who are having their liberty curtailed without any benefit of due process. During a press call on the subject of crypto mixers, a Treasury official said, quote, since we sanctioned virtual crypto mixer Blender.io, we have not seen evidence to suggest that it has remained active post that designation. We do believe that this action will send a really critical message to the private sector about the risks associated with mixers writ large, which is obviously designed to inhibit Tornado Cash or any sort of reconstituted versions of it to continue to operate. And I think that's going to do it for us tonight. I do want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. You stay safe out there. Watch out for yourselves, but watch out for each other too. We'll see you tomorrow night.